everybody's opinion on this. Opening game against a big-time marquee opponent. I love it. As a player, that's what I wanted. I wanted somebody to look at and say, we got to be ready. We don't have time to wait because we've got this team. I think we broke it down the other day. I think 3 of my 4 years, you were here 5, 3 of my 4 years, we played a Power 4 opponent in the opening game. And the 1 year we didn't, we played one in game number 2, I believe. Because then we go ULL, then Arizona, I think in 06 maybe. So I loved it. It gave me an opportunity to just see who I was going to play, know that they were doing some of the same things. They had some of the same athletes that we had. And it was always something that I felt like helped me prepare for the first game. Now, we all know that LSU is 0 for 5 in their last 5 season openers. It has been Mississippi State when you were playing a defense that you never should against a Mike Leach offense. You should never play that defense, right? They're going to hit another crosser as we're having this conversation. And then the next season, you go to the Rose Bowl, and they run counter right up your you know what, right? Zach Charbonnet just hit another counter. Florida State, back-to-back years, right? We all know the first game in New Orleans, debacle. I mean, special teams, multiple kicks blocked, just a hot mess. Okay, and then you got the next year. Look, Florida State just beat you the next year, right? I mean, you had some momentum. You had an opportunity. You don't put the ball in the end zone. They just beat you. And then last year, right, USC, they made the plays. You did not, okay? So it's been a lot of different ways. It's been different coaches. It's been different players. This year, I think it's a point of emphasis over at the ops building to make it a big deal and not hide from it. Where I don't know that that's been the case in years past. I don't know how they handled it, but I've noticed there's a lot of 1-0, right, all across the building. Sure. There's a lot of Clemson. There's a lot of messages to what is in front of you and not trying to shy away from it. And that might sound so elementary. It might sound like, oh my God, why does that? Because it's just the constant reminder for players and coaches as you're getting ready, you don't have time to wait around and figure it out. You got to get it figured out.
Well, like an athlete psyche. Whoopsies. Phone was going off. Sorry, people. Put that on silent. An athlete's psyche is, I'm not going to say the word delicate, but it's very malleable from what a coach. That's why a coach, especially the college level, is so important. How they get your mind right, how they prepare you. And I remember when we used to open up, and this is no shot at anybody, but when we used to open up with ULL or whoever it was, those types of games, in the off season, when you're hot and sweaty running 110s and you're leaning on the person next to you, you're fighting, you're sweating, you're bleeding with your brothers all off season, having something to focus on is so important. And I remember when we'd have those games that weren't big, it was, what do you think Florida's doing right now? You would talk about other teams that were looking past that.
And this is not, look, we're not sitting here trying to drop bombs and have shade.
We
never were like, what do you think ULL's doing right now? Just, that didn't happen. But it did. What do you think Mississippi State's doing right now? What do you think Oregon State's doing right now? In some of our openers.
Yep.
You never heard it when it was, a group of 5 schools.
Yeah, and Josh brought up such a good point. And there's so many butterfly effects to decisions made on expanding the playoffs, changing the rules of the playoffs, all that stuff, because I do not want to lose the opening day big game. And that is exactly what's going to happen. If they make it strictly record wins and losses, blah, 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 if you can truly, with a 12-person playoff, ruin your season by scheduling these big games, then you're going to see people just shy away from them. I don't think that's going to happen. I want to keep seeing them. As an athlete, as a player, as a former player, I did not want to play the smaller schools. I hated those games. I hated them. People can be like, well, it's a stat pattern. It looks good, blah, blah, blah. Get the guaranteed win. So what? Yeah. I hated not playing the top competition.
Just the same way.
It was hard to get up for it.
Yeah.
You're in a no-win situation.
Try to explain that from your perspective as a quarterback, because I try to say it if we were playing Fresno State, in my mind, I was doing the same exact routine. I was watching the same amount of tape. I was doing all the same things, but in reality, I was not. Because if we were playing Auburn or Florida or Alabama or whoever, It was, let me watch this third down package. Hey, let me watch this blitz pickup. Hey, let me watch this short yardage goal line situation. And you just organically found yourself doing more, staying later, having more conversations, and you weren't trying to. It's just that's the way it happened.
Yeah, there's something to be said for just like you did. The practice schedule is the same. The coaches do a great job of trying to keep the schedule on like the exact same. And you never try to think that Alabama game is bigger than Fresno State or Louisiana Tech, but it is. And you feel it. There's a unsaid knowledge there that no one has to talk about.
I got fired up. Go Dogs, to play Louisiana Tech because look, my wife's dad, uncle, my mom, her mom, she had a cousin on the team. My best friend in the world was on the team. So I was a little fired up for that one, but that was because of circumstance, not because of who it was.
Right. Yeah, Daniel in the chat are saying like some sort of combination of BCS algorithm and committee. Like the BCS system, to me, especially with a 12-man team, like a 12-man playoff.
I was about to say the only problem with the BCS was it was just
two teams, right? Even when it expanded to 4, probably pretty darn good.
That's why I don't understand why in college baseball we always talk about RPI. And Jay Johnson comes on this show all the time, RPI. Here's why we did this. When we have Matt McMahon or Kim Mulkey on, it's like we talk about the net and we talk about the Ken Palm. We talk about all these systems that we have, and we don't have that in football anymore. But if we added back to the old BCS system and we had at least a ranking, and I'm not even saying that you don't have a committee. Now, I would trust the old BCS system, but if you want to throw a human element back into it, at least if we had a BCS system to rank them, whenever we go to 16, 1 through 16, and then if that committee put 19 in over 16, then that would really, raise some hell. But you would have this metric that the coaches, like, they could use, and when it comes to scheduling, like there's a strength of schedule component that goes into the algorithm. Then you would have more teams scheduling like LSU does.
Yeah, make it black and white, at least on how the power rankings are there. And then, of course, there's a little, there's always going to be a human element to everything, because I'm sure it would take in consideration to like coaches polls and AP polls and all that stuff. Like those things would be in there. But I think just some sort of clear structure. But please, for the love of God, don't make it completely 100% about record, because as a college football fan, as a fan of good football and just being excited for the preseason and the lead up on everything, man, don't they will take away those big games if you make it about that. If you make one loss ruin an entire year, like you can always say, yeah, with 12 teams, like you control your own destiny, which is great.
There was it the year that Michigan won the Natty a couple of years ago? They didn't play a Power 4 team in the non-con. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, right? They played all
because
that was
the Jim Harbaugh suspension. Remember they basically let Michigan pick which games he was suspended, and it was like Bowling Green and Akron and teams like that. Yeah, because they didn't have any Power 5 non-conference. And they won the Natty. That's why, in my opinion, strength of schedule doesn't matter in the current format that we have. It doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
You go 10-2, you're one of the top 3 teams in your conference, you're making the playoff. That's it.
Power 4 championship games, should you be penalized?
We've had some. Georgia 2 years ago, their first loss was to Alabama in the SEC championship game. They don't get in. Then they beat the hell out of Florida State in the Orange Bowl to prove a point.
And then this year, flip it. SMU was not penalized. They lost that conference game to Clemson. Yeah. They both get in. So we've seen it both ways.
They wanted SMU in.
What?
They just wanted SMU in.
Shmew?
Okay. Yeah, I don't think if you make the conference championship in the top ones, the top conferences, you should not be penalized for that 100%. You shouldn't be kicked out of the playoffs.